Welcome back, horror fans, cinephiles, and Giallo enthusiasts. This is Tanner Leeser, your host for all things Giallo, here on The King of Giallo, and this is another unscripted talking head movie review, this time for the 1972 Giallo film, A White Dress for Marialé, or Spirits of Death. So, I mean, how often do I just come right out of the gate and just say, this is not a good movie? This is one of those Giallo films that a lot of people will say that's not a Giallo film. It really does take about an hour or so to get there. Funny enough, the intro is very reminiscent kind of like a mix between Libido and The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave. I would actually say, I wanted to say that this would be a companion to Libido. Like, if you like Libido, you should watch this. But I don't think many people are going to enjoy this movie. I'll put it this way. The director, Romano Scavolini, who is the younger brother of Sauro Scavolini, who's a screenwriter for a lot of Giallo films, he even said, referring to this film, this movie, which, quote, which only deserves to be forgotten. That's pretty harsh when you can admit, you're like, no, my movie was bad. It should not be watched. It should be forgotten. And what a shame, because there's a fair amount of good people who worked on this movie. So, Wikipedia, the plot synopsis is, as a child, Marialé witnesses the murder of her mother at her father's hands. So that's kind of like Libido. She later becomes a recluse, living by herself in a dark, gloomy castle. Marialé decides to invite some friends over for the weekend and stages a decadent, orgiastic party. Then, a series of grisly murders begin to occur. It stars Ida Galli, also called Evelyn Stewart, as Marialé, Ivan Rassimov as Massimo, and Luigi Pistilli as Paolo. Those are the main players. We also have Shawn Robinson as Semy, Pilar Velázquez as Mercedes. Carla Mancini shows up in the beginning, and you actually see her. Like, it's actually like, oh, that's Carla Mancini. Beyond that, Ezio Marano is also in this, and yeah, so funny enough, Ezio Marano is in a couple Giallo films this year, which have this very like feel to them, like I guess it's a Giallo, I guess, I don't know, but yeah, I said this was directed by Romano Scavolini. It's also written by Giuseppe Mangione and Remigio Del Grosso, and the music is by Fiorenzo Carpi. I do not recognize that name. I will say the music was actually stood out to me more so than the previous movie I watched, The Weapon, the Hour, and the Motive. There's some good names in this movie, especially for the cast, but it's also interesting to see Ivan Rassimov and Luigi Pistilli together again after seeing them in Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. But yeah, I gotta say, this movie it's one of those, let's bring all these people into a building, a castle, a villa, a whatever, and things are gonna go bump in the night. Funny enough, as much as I didn't really care for Murder Mansion is actually a better movie than this. It's like, I hate to say that. Yeah, this one was really, really hard to watch. I wanted to enjoy this. I wanted to not like despise it. And I don't want to say I despised it, but at a certain point halfway through, it's just like, why are we seeing this? Like the orgiastic type things is like everybody's playing dress up or whatever, and it kind of feels like a Shakespearean comedy where it's like guys are kind of dressing up and like cross-dressing or whatever, and I'm like, I think this is supposed to be silly, but it's just going on and on and on and not going anywhere in terms of story. And the movie was only like an hour and 30 minutes, and God, I feel like you could have shaved off a lot of this movie. So yeah, this is also, I believe this is in a Forgotten Gialli box set. This is in the one with Tropic of Cancer. Forgotten Gialli Volume 5 is, the one that had A White Dress for Marialé, Tropic of Cancer, and 9 Guests for a Crime. 9 Guests for a Crime, you better be good, because these movies, these other two movies are not it. They're not it. Tropic of Cancer was kind of fun a little bit, but this one was just like, in terms of these types of gothic Giallo films that are all set in one place, you got a very small list of red herrings. Gosh, this was just This was easily the worst one I've ever seen in that category. And there's a lot of those that are just not good. At least in my opinion, they're just not the ones I want to see. Gosh, I'm trying to think of something positive to say about this movie. The only thing I can think of is like good cast, but they feel so underutilized. The kills were all right. There was someone who got mauled by dogs. Someone got knocked into a pool and beaten to death, drowned, I think, ultimately. Someone got stabbed. The first kill in the flashback, that was kind of funny. This naked guy gets shot and he does like a backflip almost in slow motion. So yeah, that was cool, I guess. It literally was like the night Evelyn came out of the grave if that flashback ended with like someone getting shot, two people getting shot. And yeah, so like that image is from the flashback in the beginning of the movie of the mom, the adulterous mother, getting killed with her lover. And I will say the only other thing I can think to say about this movie is that I was assuming the killer was going to be really one of three people, potentially four, because there were a lot of people in this movie, that actors who have been the killer beforehand or afterwards. And so with a lot of Giallo films, sometimes actors get typecast as the suave, cool guy who is actually got ulterior motives and he's the killer at the end. Like Ivan Rassimov is in this, and I'm like, okay, so immediately I'm like, he might be cast as the killer. I'm immediately looking at Galli because the whole plot of trauma, I'm like, okay, might be her. Depending on how they play it, I was thinking kind of like Libido. In Libido, they really want you to think it's what's his name, Giacomo Giannini, I believe that's the actor who was in that. They really are trying to pin it on him, and it's becomes fairly obvious that it's most likely not him, because Giancarlo Giannini, excuse me. Because as they do in these movies, it's the other characters trying to make that person go crazy or get arrested or break down in some way, shape, or form so they can take over everything. And that element wasn't quite here. So I'm thinking maybe it's going to be Galli. Like I said, maybe Ivan Rassimov, or potentially Luigi Pistilli. And then the other one was Ezio Marano, because he's been the killer before. Well, at the end, I won't spoil it, but by the very end, we get to like three of those four people standing in a room, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where, you're like, okay, I'm thinking it's one of these two, so let's do 50-50, and then you're left with the two that you thought it was. You're like, okay, awesome, great. So that was kind of interesting to get to like the last 5 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, awesome, it's literally one of the three people that I thought it was going to be. And even then it was kind of like one person's got a gun, assuming it's somebody else, and someone's like, shoot them, and they're like, no, it's that person, like, no, it's them, no, it's them. But yeah, by the end it was kind of like, that's what I assumed was going on. All right. So yeah, I really don't have a lot to say for this one, and this is one that I was originally going to do in the Forgotten Giallo film series, but because I own it on Blu-ray, I'm going to do a Jolly Tally for it, but I'm going to try to rush through that. I'll be honest, I'm going to count up all the tallies, all the cliches, I'm going to count up all the cliches, but I don't think I'm going to be giving as descriptive of what's going on, because not a lot of things in that movie went anywhere. It really felt like this could have been about 40 minutes, 50 minutes. This could have been one of those Masters of Horror 55-minute horror movies. Yeah. My gosh, if somebody likes this movie, I really invite you to I'm not gonna shit on your opinion. Like I've said before, oftentimes it is the people who comment who have an opposite opinion that actually get me to reconsider and see it from a different perspective. But this is going to be quite a task. Tropic of Cancer, I could come around and be like, all right, some of these other ones, even, maybe some of the other ones in the past were more focused on the investigation or more focused on the characters, something to redeem them. This one, I really don't know what it's got to redeem it. Even the director said, let's just forget this movie ever happened. That's bad. Okay, I'll wrap this one up. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me, what are your predictions for the AZ score for this movie, and what do you think the final Jolly Tally score will be? Leave those down below, and let's have some good conversations in the comments. Let's see where this takes us. But yeah, I'll see you at the Jolly Tally, and that's all I've got for this movie. So this is Tanner Leeser for The King and Giallo and nothing else. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Ferma, Mercedes. Stai ferma.